Hello there. Welcome to the due date number 7 overview. So, for this due date, you will be submitting a full draft of your genre literacy narrative. Yay! So, up to this point, you've been outlining, you've been adding some dialogue scenes, you've been working on description, and so now you have finally come to the point where you can, um, where you will have actually gotten to the point where you can review some dialogue, as you can see in due date number 1, and you are actually going to be end up submitting a draft. But hey, before I get to that, or let me get to that now, this is going to be this is a fairly lengthy assignment, so this one you might actually, might want to consider just starting a little bit earlier. Okay, so first you'll be starting with a peer review of project number 1 dialogue in Eli Review. I've I've referred you to a bunch of readings here, linked out to Writer's Help 2. Writer's Help 2.0, which is listed here. A couple linked out articles, specifically in reference to dialogue, and then a couple chapters in the student's guide related to peer review and effective reviewing and revision. These are practices that are super important for our for pretty much any writing course, which is why I want to really want to emphasize that. Okay, so you're going to be reviewing your peer submissions using the rubric that is there. After having read those readings, you will be more educated there. Next, for the next part of the due date, we'll be creating a revision plan for the project number 1 outline in order for you to identify specific places you want to revise and how and why you want to revise them. Okay, so really revision is not just, you send ideas or suggestions to somebody and then just leave it at that. The other person must go and retrieve those suggestions and think about how they're going to, and if they're going to implement those changes in their draft. And so this part of the assignment will help you to do that. For this part of the assignment, you'll be identifying a main point thesis or claim for your genre literacy narrative. So you've hopefully started to think about this even earlier now, but most academic papers, and especially the genre literacy narrative, will have some sort of main claim about some bigger point, in this case, a literacy experience that needs to be addressed. So you will do some values inventories and exercises for this assignment to help you try to write that out. Okay, because oftentimes the main thesis, main claim can be kind of a hard thing to write, and it changes. It's totally okay if it changes throughout the drafting process. Okay, so next for DD7 HW4, you will be using some rhetorical moves to draft project number 1, and you can read all about that in the assignments that are linked out here. I think I'm pretty excited for you all to be reading this part in Writer's Help 2.0 about following patterns of development. Okay, so now it gets to a point where your paper or your story really becomes developed and kind of fleshed out, and that's what this assignment will help you to do. Now for this assignment, it's super important. I want you guys to link out to the Google Drive folder for the course. And in the project number 1 folder, I want you to actually go in the subfolder that you all have created for an earlier due date. You're going to go in that folder, and that's where you're actually going to be documenting a full draft of your genre literacy narrative. Okay, so you want to make sure you put it in that Google Drive folder, and I'll be monitoring the Drive folder continuously to make sure things are in the right place, so it doesn't look too disorganized, but I want to make sure that you do make sure to put it in your subfolder. And there's a bunch of directions over here in relation to how to write a good story. Some readings, like more from Writer's Help 2.0, have been included here. And you want to make a couple different revisions in this assignment and then reflect on those revisions. specifically focusing on the story on storytelling strategies and patterns of development that worked particularly well for you. So the key of this is, of course, is that you're going to be continuously reflecting on your writing as you write. All right, and there you have it. By the end of this due date, you will have submitted a full draft of your genre literacy narrative. Thank you for listening. Let me know if you have any questions in the meantime. Bye-bye.